Well, we will go ahead and move on into the questions time. If you have wins, which we all oftentimes do, wins can be sometimes convoluted with questions as well because new things, new territory. But we'll go ahead and go it over to the question side. So, what questions do you guys have this morning? Could be related to really anything, but things that have been troublesome, frustrating, annoying, even if you just got to let it air it out. What kind of things did you tune in for this morning?
I got a quick question.
Yeah, tell us,
Oh,
Taylor.
Something we're looking into is trying to get like cameras for job sites. One to help us like look and see like when people are actually showing up, and then also just to keep things secure like on the job site. But I was just curious if anybody has had any like success with a camera that's for a job site that doesn't need like Wi-Fi. And yeah, if you just have any options. I've looked into True Look construction cameras, but yeah, it's just kind of trying to get a quote and a demo thing scheduled, and not sure really what costs are on something like that. But it would save us a lot of time if we could have a camera on each job site.
Absolutely. That's a great question. Um, Anybody have any feedback cameras that they've used on their job sites that they would recommend? Or if you have one that you would not recommend and you're like, stay away, that's helpful too.
oh, there you go, Mr. J. Got some feedback there for you. Jay, I didn't know that you guys did that. So is that how do you set those up? What's the process for it, if you don't mind sharing?
Um, we do the LTE version cameras, right? And so what we're able to do is we just get a cellular data plan. And with T-Mobile, I got it where it's like $5 a plan a month, and I just use the LTE service, and I use that SIM card, stick it in the camera, and we have like several cameras, one on each job site that we keep eye on projects with. And because it's LTE, we don't need to worry about having network or anything like that. And less contracts. We don't like the monthly fees too much, so we didn't get the ones that are really cheap cameras, because the cheaper cameras, they have like you have to buy the service through them. And a lot of times there may be a little bit more in my experience.
Hmm.
So you buy the camera separate and then just get an LTE like data plan with T-Mobile.
Yeah, that's the way we do it. Yes.
Okay.
And it works good for us.
And all you
Right.
pay is $5 a month for each additional plan.
Exactly. And then there's always bells and whistles with everything, right? So
Yep.
they have like upgrade charges to do like certain cloud recording, things like that. But yeah, it's we use the SD card to catch the videos, and then we have the LTE service, so that way we don't have to pay for the monthly on any other.
Okay. Where do you get your cameras at?
I got them through Amazon, and through Amazon, a lot of times when you go on like right now on Black Friday, it might be some cheaper ones. When we bought them a couple of years ago, I got them for like 129, 159, and it's like the full rotating kind and things like that. So it gives you a chance to move your camera around to see the visual differently as well.
Awesome. Thank you. That's super helpful.
No problem.
Nice. Has it ever saved you in any instances, Jay?
Well, it helps out a lot because number one, it lets you know if somebody came to the job site or they didn't come to the job site, right? You can, instead of being at the job site 7 in the morning, you can look on the camera and see if they showed up or not, right? So it really helps out a lot of legwork. It reduced a lot of legwork for us after we got those cameras in place.
Oh yeah. What do you do for charging? Are those all battery and you swap them out, or do you have them plugged in?
So they are battery operated, but you can either plug it into a wall if you wanted to, or a lot of them come with the solar kit on them. It's a little solar panel, and you
Okay.
can just have that sticking. Like at a couple of our job sites, we have them exterior, and so we just have the solar panel. And like I have one camera that I haven't touched for like 2 years. It's still sitting on the job site and at a distant place, and it still works perfect for us to this day.
Awesome.
All right.
Sweet. Thanks.
Absolutely.
Did you say what brand they were?
We found Reo, REO, that worked for us. And there's also another one, but like I said, the other one, you have to buy their service, which is not bad, but the cameras are cheaper in the front end, which is U-Box. It's called U-Box, another brand.
Hmm.
I have both of those systems. That way I'm not limited to just one, and but yeah, I found that the real one for me is cheaper for the long run.
Cool. Thank you.
Nice. Cool. Yeah, thanks, Jay. Any other feedback? Anybody else have ever used that sort of system? I think one thing as well that might be related to this that I'm always a big proponent for is when we talk about having meetings with your team or job site leads or things like that, a lot of guys get overwhelmed with the thought of, well, they all start at different places throughout the day or different job sites at the beginning of the week. And there's honestly a lot more freedom in this day and age to be able to do stuff like we're doing right now. It's a lot more comfortable, even on the contracting side, as you guys are a testament to in this moment. But just doing a FaceTime video or a video call like this as well is a great way that you can have people start out at different job sites, but still hold that communication meeting on a regular basis with your team or your leads, because almost every construction business, or really any of the businesses that we work with in the contracting industry, a communication breakdown is so prevalent, so common that people say, well, I talk to my project manager, every day. So of course we're on the same page. But that's actually not a really effective way to communicate and get people on the same page, schedule, do training, get people on the rowing in the same direction. Stuff sticks differently in a meeting. So I know it's kind of an unrelated thing, but I think that's a helpful thing as well on getting people starting on time on the job sites in different areas where you don't have to be running all over the place. What other questions do we have this morning?
Thoughts, issues you're running into? If we could wave a magic wand, what would we be fixing for you?
Well,
I'd like to
today,
hear.
oh, go
Sorry.
ahead. I was just going to make a wisecrack. I was going to say today you could fix the weather in Phoenix. It's been raining solid for like 3 days, and we got 2 more days of this stuff.
Oh, no,
Actually,
you're,
the same thing. We had power outages all last night, like
oh,
3 times, and this morning we were out of power for like about an hour and a half, 2 hours. But
wow.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's
you
been
guys
pretty
are
good.
sending it our way. We have rain in the forecast, and when I looked this morning, it said that we're expecting thunderstorms this morning, but so far nothing. I know my roofers here in Tulsa would love for that thunderstorm to be sent this way. Jay,
But I
did
was
you?
gonna ask,
Yeah.
as far as anybody have experience on getting their first salesperson in position to replace themselves? I'd like to know. I know me and Bryce been talking about it's going to be a long-term plan before that happens for us. But I'm still kind of curious on how it went with people and if there's any learning curves.
Yeah, great question.
Ty.
Go ahead. Nope, you're muted, sir.
First thing is unmute yourself when you talk to them. And secondly, the hardest part is duplicating yourself. It's an impossibility. And if that's what you try to do in a small business like Leslie and I, we can't be duplicated with the passion that we have for what we do. It's not only for how we want to make a living, but it's also our drive and desire to satisfy clients. And so the really, really hard part is finding that person with a servant's heart to begin with and not worried about their work ethic as much as they care about somebody else. Because when they get out there, it doesn't matter how hard they work if your customer doesn't think they care about them. So that's the hardest part. I mean, we're the simplest little things. A new person that is now working with us cleaning our Airbnb in Canton, Texas, we almost started crying when the lady was like, I just can't believe somebody let your house look like this. And that was her deal. Not how many hours am I working, not what do you expect from me? It was, I can't believe you've been paying for something already and you haven't been getting it, and you get to see their heart of what they pour into what they do first. So I wouldn't be as much worried about what's your last big accomplishment versus how do you want people to feel about you. And when you walk off, and if you don't take ownership of my company, like if you're not part of it as an owner, then it'll never work. I mean, especially starting small stuff.
That's huge.
Yeah.
That's huge. I think makes me think of the quote from Paul. No. Who is it? Peter Sheps, the CEO of Porsche back in the day, when he said, hire character and train skill. We can teach somebody to do, or for certain roles, the skills are pretty ubiquitous. If they're applying for that, they ought to have it. But it's the character that matters, and you can't really teach someone or re-raise someone, or at least you don't want to. You don't want to put that on yourself. Yeah, that's great feedback, Ty.
Yeah.
I think if he's still in here, Zach had just talked about hiring a salesperson. I'm curious his feedback, but I don't know if he's still in the call. Looks like not. Anybody else have any feedback with that? Salespeople being able to duplicate yourself in that role. What does that look like and things to watch out for?
I know for those of you who have been a Redmond Growth client for a while, you probably can already anticipate what I'm about to say, and you're probably almost sick of hearing it. But if you do not have your processes documented, anybody who you hire is being set up to fail. And you can tell somebody all day long till you're blue in the face how you want them to do something, but unless it is written down in a place that they can easily access and follow in the future, they are not going to remember what it is that they're supposed to be doing. So having a sales call checklist, having an estimating checklist, role playing with them, meeting with them weekly. I never want a sales role, even if they're 100% commission, to feel isolated or be on an island by themselves. We need to still have a weekly meeting with them where we're going over their KPIs, where we're going over the process, what's going well, what isn't, how could we enhance this? Making sure they have a built out sales folder that highlights the value that you guys are providing. And so Ty is 100% correct. Nobody's ever going to care as much as you care, but they can sell at the level that you can sell if you have the right systems in place. And so that's why I'd really encourage, that's where I would start, is with making sure that everything that you're trying to duplicate is documented, is easily accessed, and you have set training to help, equip that person fully.
Mhm.
You can't over document, I promise.
Yeah, equipping them with tools. Something that we don't often do necessarily is promote some of the stuff that we have as just default resources, because most everyone should already have one. But I think it's often enough that I have the conversation with the guys that I work with to remind them of the value of the one sheet, in taking the conversation away from merely about nails and screws and dollars and cents into the value of what you actually do that's different and what you actually do that's unique. If you have a one sheet that we've created for you, print that sucker out and make sure that you're using it and you equip anyone on your team. It's the most accessible way for you to build a visual script that can be used in real time, right? Anything that you're doing or someone on your team is doing well that can be duplicated, you want to replicate the success. And the one sheet's an incredible way to do that and have that conversation. It's very easy to use in the sales appointment on the very first interaction you have with the customer. But yeah, knowing what your unique value proposition is, or at least the 5 main things that make you better than somebody else at the exact same price. If you don't know it, your team doesn't know it, and your customers certainly don't know it. So that's one specific, very intentional tool that you all should have. And if you don't, let's make one for you, because it's just a truly tremendous value add to any kind of business, making sure that's clear. Yeah. Does anybody not have a one sheet currently that we've worked on and built in with them? That's
When you
more
say
than
a
one
one,
in the
when you
program.
say a one sheet, are you talking about the one sheet advertising thing, or are you talking about a different one sheet?
The comparison chart, Scott, you've got one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, something like this.
Okay. Yeah, I've got
It
that.
has that comparison chart,
Okay.
photos of your work, QR code. So if you haven't got one yet and you're more than a month into the process with urban growth, shoot an email to your coach right now and let's get one
What I
started.
will say is when you shoot that email to your coach, go ahead and equip your coach with the 4 or 5 top benefits that you see for your company because your coach needs those things. Otherwise, we are BSing. We are pulling your benefits out of our butt, and it's going to be harder for you to sell them because if you don't believe in them, you're not going to be able to pitch it. So focus on tangible benefits. Nobody cares if you're locally owned. Nobody cares if you say you care. Nobody cares if you say you're the best. What they do care is what are you providing to us? So what guarantees, what warranties, what types of materials? If you say you use high quality materials, what brands, what makes them higher quality? If you say you're the best, why? Provide those tangible. If you say you're customer service focused, well, everybody says that. Well, I have a dedicated project manager with their cell that I can get a hold, like what quantifies that? And so if you want a one sheet, send your 4 or 5 top benefits, and then your coach will be able to fluff it up and make it look pretty from there. But that's what we need from you to get that going.
Yeah. Truly, truly.
What other questions, thoughts, concerns, things you're trying to solve, running into? Laura.
If you're speaking, we cannot hear you. But it doesn't look like you're muted. Hmm. Your microphone, I don't know. I had connection issues when I first logged in as well. So your microphone may not be set up for now, Laura. Unless anyone else was hearing her.
No.
Okay. We'll circle back around to you, Laura. If you're able to get the audio going, let us know. It's on fire. Oh my gosh. Hopefully get
Not
that
good.
resolved. We'll circle back around. What other questions do we have this morning in the meantime? Problems, issues you're running into, new opportunities.
I'm seeing a few more people hop on. I think it's been a slow morning or a really busy morning, which is why people are just now hopping on. Alexander, what question do you have?
I'm interested. So I'm looking to potentially bring on like a general contractor or like a project manager, and I'm I'm here asking what is the difference between having an employee versus having somebody as like a 1099 and having them open up their own company and then you just hire them out. I know I'm unfamiliar with the difference and advantages, disadvantages. Uh, I know roughly about it, but I just want to hear about what y'all think.
It's a
Yeah.
great question. I would love a client to answer that one.
Well, first, the IRS has a means test that they use in determining whether you can actually 1099 or make somebody an employee. So it's like a 20-point list, and you go through and go, okay, are you determining their hours and all that kind of stuff? So that's the first thing you need to do is find out whether they can be classified as a 1099 employee. 1099 employees are better for us because they're, you don't have all of the payroll and all of the, additional taxes, and it's just easy. I write them a check, send them a 1099 at the end of the year, and I'm done with it. But you got to make sure you can classify them. Otherwise, what'll happen, you get audited 2 years from now, and you may find out that you owe all the payroll tax, yours and theirs, 2 years from now for the 2 years that you didn't properly pay it.
Yeah. The biggest determiner, Alex, is if they are going to be exclusively working for you and you're pretty much working, them full time, they need to be an hourly employee. Otherwise, the IRS will get angry at some point and you'll have to pay a bunch of backed up payroll tax. If it's somebody who's just filling in for you here and there, they're running their own jobs, they're working for other people, that can definitely be more of a 1099. What Dale had said in the chat, where a 1099 is technically their own boss, and then somebody who's an employee is you are their boss. What I will say to that is, like, you can still fire subs from working on any of your jobs. And so, like, just because they're a sub doesn't mean that you can't hold them to certain standards and set expectations with them and let them know that if they don't meet those, they're going to get let go. And if you don't have a subcontractor agreement, for this goes for any of our clients, we can definitely help you create one. We have a template for that, because they can sign and agree to how they're going to perform the job, how they're going to act on your job site, or they'll be let go. Chris, do you have a question?
No, I was just going to piggyback on what Scott said. So I think, Alex, you mentioned if they start their own business. So there's a difference there. So like Scott said, if they're a 1099, a person, you're just 1099, they're not a business. If they don't have their own insurance, you will be paying taxes on the money you pay out, you will be paying insurance and workers' comp on that person if they do not have their own insurance, versus if you mentioned that if they become their own LLC or their own business, that's a different thing. You don't have to worry about any of that. Then you just 1099 that business and they're responsible for their own insurance and all of that. So there's, little nuances in there of how you're handling it. Like Scott said, if, depending on if you're dictating their hours and what level you're involved in their scheduling and things like that. So yeah, there's a few things you just got to look at and what fits best. I would recommend asking your CPA or your tax guy and also your insurance guy, workers' comp, things like that. Run it by all of them and see what they're all a little different. They have different policies and stuff. So I ran into that when me and my partner, another partner of mine, had the finished carpentry company, and I was an owner and I was exempt, but even I wasn't taking owner's draws. I was getting paid on a 1099, and at the end of the year, we ended up owing like $8,000 or $9,000. Surprise, because I wasn't technically covered under the insurance, and so they dinged us. So just be careful of that.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good feedback. Laura, if you have something else to say, please do before I ask another question.
Nope, I'm in a different direction. But
Okay.
yes, I'll agree in a agreement with what everybody else said. If you're supplying the tools and the truck and the materials, be very careful because it will come back to bite you.
The other thing is, okay, so with employment, the guy who I'm looking at, he gets some sort of Social Security benefits. Is it true that you would have to pay that as the company?
Sorry, what do you mean there, Alexander? Is it true that you'd have to pay the Social Security?
Yeah,
tax? If he's a 1099 or a W-2,
W-2.
what benefits
If
is
you
he
bring him on
receiving?
as an employee as a W-2.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Would anybody?
You shouldn't have to pay his benefit, but you're going to have to pay the 14.65%. He pays half of it, you pay half of it, plus the unemployment insurance and plus Medicare. As an employer, you're going to have all of those federal, and then whatever state you're in, whatever they throw on it, you'll have to pay. But you shouldn't have to pay. If he's collecting a Social Security benefit, he'll have to claim the income he earns from you to determine whether or not his Social Security benefits get reduced.
Okay.
Yeah. Good deal. Jordan, I know your hand was up around the same time. Is it another question you had, or were you going to contribute to the 1099 versus W-2 conversation? And then we'll go back to Laura. You're muted, Jordan.
This doesn't 100% go towards what Alexander was saying, but one little workaround that we found for some small stuff that maybe we've done at like our shop, or like, hey, we just need a drywaller to come real quick, patch like one hole. We pay, like, we write it in our books as like a referral fee, and it's just like kind of a cheat workaround, where like I'm paying that person a referral for the job. And then, you know, not every time that you hire a drywaller or a painter or something like that, might be a guy doing a side job or something like that. So it's just a little cheat workaround for like a small thing. But if you're going to have like a long-term employment or contract with somebody, you'd probably want to do it, you know, more up and up. I know last year we got hit with $4,000. We had to pay back on our work comp because we had basically hired people without insurance or 1099. And so we got audited, and we had to cut a check for like $4,000 back to our insurance company for that.
That's
Good
great
input there.
feedback. Yeah.
All righty, Miss Laura. I think we're ready for you.
Hi, sorry about technical difficulties here. So
You are fine.
Okay.
thank you. We're working on defining what our emergency service price structure and compensation to our team members is going to look like. So I'm curious for feedback from other service-based contractors. Example scenario, customer calls on Thanksgiving morning, my stove doesn't work, my lights are flickering, you know, power out to half the house. You know, what does the compensation look like for your technician to put on his boots to go solve somebody else's problem on a holiday or after hour scenario? My concern is that if I just say, okay, it's time and a half, it's a 2-hour minimum, and you know, the electrician goes and fixes the problem, but they see what the customer's paying and their compensation in comparison to what the bill is, doesn't really look fair. So my approach is maybe it should be a commission based, where the technician gets, you know, a percentage of that call versus just an hourly rate. Thank you.
It's a great question. Laura's a electrician service company. So if anybody has any feedback there on how they handle those same day emergency calls, has to happen now, would love some feedback.
And part of me is like, is it even worth it? I kind of, you know, I feel like for it to be worth for the guys to put their boots on in that situation, you know, the company and the technician need to be compensated well.
Totally agree with that. I have feedback, Laura, but I know you and I meet tomorrow. So if you don't get feedback here, we'll talk about it then. But does anybody, Jordan, do you have feedback on this?
Yeah, I was just
Tell us.
gonna say with Laura, we struggle with this as well. Like it seems like the emergency, maybe I've just been unlucky or whatever, but it seems like the emergency calls are like the most unrealistic, not, you know, we've struggled with it as well, not only finding guys, but also figuring out pricing. So if anybody's got the secret sauce, I'd be interested too.
Secret sauce. I like that. Chris, do you have feedback on this or a question?
So one of the other businesses I'm part of, I have a water delivery business out in Apache Junction out here. It's really rocky and mountainous. The wells are drying up, the water table's dropping, and it's expensive to drill a new well. So we deliver hauled water. They have tanks at their house. So we do have emergency protocols in place where you call us, you need what, you ran out, you forgot to schedule, whatever, you need water now. For us to drop the hat, we have an emergency services delivery fee. So we charge our normal rates, whatever size tank we're filling or whatever, and then we'll have an emergency services fee. And we'll, for the company side, we just charge our normal rate. There's no, really the only person that in our situation that it's putting out is our delivery driver. He's got to come grab the truck, go fill up, go to their house. So if they can't wait and get on our normal routed schedule, now if they can wait till the next day when we have schedules and they're in the area, we'll let the emergency fee slide. We'll just slip them in the schedule while the driver's already out. But if he's got to come on a Sunday or a holiday and he's got a, not a scheduled day, he's got deliveries, then we give most of that emergency fee to our driver. The company still makes what we're normally making. It's not setting us back to have him go. We're not doing anything. It's him that's doing all it. So we'll give, 75 to 90% of that emergency fee to the driver. So it's worth it to him. Why would he want to, on a Sunday as he's watching football, and now he's got to get up, get dressed, go get the truck, go to and then the whole thing. So we take care of our driver. We want him to be happy. The company still makes its piece of bread on the water and the use of the truck on our normal fees. So we found that to really work out pretty. I mean, we make a little bit on it, but it's not. We want to get the client, like the gentleman earlier said, we want to be, have the heart of a servant. We want to take care of our clients. We want them to see that, all right, we're here for you. We got your back. And our fees aren't crazy. We just make it, basically, I think it's a $75 emergency service. I'd have to check, it changed, but so most of that goes to the driver. So we want to take care of the client and we want to take care of our employee, because those are that's who's paying the bills. If without the driver we wouldn't have anything, without our clients we wouldn't have anything. So those are the two most important. The company will make its money just on the regular delivery. Plus in the future, that's going to, word of mouth. Hey, these guys really took care of me. It's going to help us, so those review type things really help us. And that's what we ask them. Hey, since we took care of you, could you make sure you leave us a good review? We helped you out. So
That's great.
kind of
Great
both.
feedback.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the two caveats that I would say to that is if it is a very consistent client, Laura, where it's like this is somebody who either refers us a lot of work or like has been a customer for a long time, kind of like what Chris is saying, like, yeah, let's really kind of go above and beyond and serve those people. If it is a new customer that you're like, this person is panicking over something that isn't even important and they are already asking me about price and it's not a good fit, I would definitely not be disrupting your entire schedule for those people, and I think $75 is pretty dang cheap, Chris. I would say most of our clients for an emergency fee are charging well over $100. I know here locally, when my outlet caught on fire on a Saturday, I was calling a bunch of electricians and I was getting quoted emergency fees that were over $200 to get somebody out. Now I think as a big franchise, that's pretty normal. I think having it be in between like $150 would be probably more aligned with like what we recommend. And I do love splitting that with the technician. If you have somebody who's working after hours or, something like that, giving them half of that emergency fee. I will also say that if this is happening a lot, like if you are turning away calls every single day because you cannot get out there soon enough, that is a big indicator that we have enough work to bring on another tech or another van to help run those calls. So I would kind of use that as a gauge. If you're keeping track of your KPIs, I'd add a column that's not soon enough calls, and we're just keeping track weekly of how many of those we're having, or if we're having a lot of people cancel because they're so far out, that's another good indicator that we've got enough room, to bring somebody else on. But I would use your discretion, Laura. I trust your judgment on the phone. If somebody is If it is not worth moving the schedule for that person, then don't move the schedule for that person. If you feel like it's a great client and you've got somebody who's willing to do some overtime, charge an emergency fee and get them out there. Jordan.
The success that I've had in like wording with emergency fees and stuff like that is I just simply tell the customer, like, if we have to pay overtime because this is a weekend or a nighttime rate, then we have to pass that along to you. So I've kind of used, when you said that, Nicole, it made me think of that. I've used that when I've talked to customers wanting weekend work, where they can only schedule on the weekend or something like that. Then I tell them, hey, so our normal hours are 8 to 4, and anything after that, you know, I got to pay the guys overtime. So there's going to be a surplus on your guys' bill.
That's great. It's always nerve-wracking having those conversations, but it really shouldn't be. People are very understanding. All they want is transparency. And if somebody flips out about that, there's your indicator. We're not going to work for this person. It's not a good fit. I'm not going to disrupt my guy's schedule for it. And so I love that feedback, Jordan. Just be transparent. Yeah. What other questions or feedback do we got today? Thoughts, things we're running into? Going once, going twice. Okay, well, if a thought occurs, if a question occurs, feel free to put it in the chat. We will not have group coaching this week because it will be Thanksgiving. Enjoy that time with your family. We will be doing the same. But if you have a question, don't feel like you have to wait till that following Thursday to ask the group. Be a part of our group chat, participate there. And if you guys need anything, feel free to reach out to your coach. But we will close out this group call the same way we close out every single one. So I'm going to need to see some unmutes here because we're going to do a big 3, 2, 1 growth. I'm seeing cameras pop on, unmutes happening. I love the participation. All right. 3, 2, 1.
Growth.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Yes.